How did that happen?
Well, it is an interesting story because it's unusual.
Mm.
Coming from a family of 11 children, we struggled. And to be quite honest with you, we were broken up into foster homes when I was 11 years old.
Okay.
So, 2 or 3 kids would go to one home, another 2 or 3 to another home, etc. In one of those homes, I had the opportunity to meet a family that really changed my life. And this was the Griffin family. I was at a church retreat when I first got out to the foster home, and the pastor came by because the foster mother said, I have this new kid. Maybe you can help him out, introduce him to some people in the church. He said, well, we're having a retreat this coming weekend, so why don't you send him along? And the question came of money. And he said, no, you don't need any money. So fine, I went off to this retreat with all these kids. I was the only black kid amongst maybe 12 or so white kids. And that made no difference. I was just the only kid.
Right.
But I had no money. And
Were you
so
around 11?
I was about 11.
Okay.
And so during the breaks, they went to the soda machine to buy soda. And so I had no money. And so there was this black gentleman there who was one of the assistant pastors, Bob Griffin, 6'5", really nice guy. So I went up to him. I said, Mr. Griffin, lend me a dime. And so he gave me a dime, and I bought the soda, and I majored myself at a dime for soda, right? And this kept on during the whole retreat. And after a while, he said, boy, get out of here. And I said, Mr. Griffin. And then on the way home, I said, I want to ride with you on the way home. He said, no, I don't want anything to do with you. Get away. I had a pesky little kid, right? But I found him. And then I found out that he worked for IBM. And we became very, very close. So coming home from school, I would go over to his house rather than go to the foster home. Either I was playing sports, and I played sports all year round. I never missed a season of sports, 3 sports a year. And that was a goal, to keep being competitive. And I am very, very competitive. That's why I have a problem with my golf game being low on the totem pole, as you might imagine.
Right.
But he worked for IBM. Long story short, one day he worked for IBM in New York City at the time. And I went to his office at the end of the day, and I put my feet up on his desk at the end of the day because I had seen that on TV.
Right.
And I said, Mr. Griffin, one day I'm going to take your job.
You told him this at 11 years old?
11 years old. I said, one day I'm going to take your job. And you know what he said to me?
What's that?
Which inspired me.